All right, in South Jersey Group 2, we've got Bridgeton with an impressive win in the first round of the playoffs last week. But they have a real tough task this week, Mike, against Delsey Regional, unbeaten, I believe,
right,
this season.
Delsey unbeaten, and the defending South Jersey Group 2 champion, number 2 in our Press Elite 11.
And what also I think is interesting that didn't necessarily come out of last week's game story, we learned about it later, was that Bridgeton actually was pretty short-handed last week in that game.
Yeah, it seems this happens to Bridgeton at the end of every season, and it's why they deserve a lot of credit. You know, they just get ravaged by injuries. They don't really start out the season with many players on the team. I believe now they're down to under 25 players, 23, 24 they're going to dress Friday night. Kaim Simpson, a great wide receiver and defensive end for them, left the Cinnaminson game last Friday night with a shoulder injury, so who knows what his status is for Friday night. But, you know, like I think I wrote in the paper tomorrow, Bridgeton is winning and surviving, and the surviving part might be more impressive than the wins they've had, what they're able to do. Dave Ellen and his staff and the kids that are still out there deserve a lot of credit.
Right, well, when we talk about Bridgeton, too, you have to talk about Mike Cicero on offense. I mean, he's been their main guy on the field on offense. Had another huge game last week against Cinnaminson. They're really going to rely heavily on him to see if they have any chance of beating Delsey.
Well, you say, well, how are they surviving? They're surviving because they have some of the most dynamic players in the Cape-Atlantic League. Mike Cicero leads the Cape-Atlantic League in rushing. Seems like he's running for 200 yards every game. And Rashawn Smith, the linebacker, like 120, 125 tackles this season. Division I prospect, played great last week against Cinnaminson. Helped them shut down their running game, Eric Riley. So when you got two players like that, it goes a long way. But they face a tough task going into Delsey, a Delsey team that has just about dominated every opponent they played this season, except for Absegami, who they beat in the middle of October, 28-21.
All right, and then who should we look for on the Delsey team to
well, Delsey runs the football. They've got two running backs. Austin Medley has run for 29 touchdowns this season, and Sean McPherson has run for over 1,000 yards, as has Austin Medley. Delsey's hardly thrown the football this year at all. They've just given the ball to these two kids, and that'll be the challenge for Bridgeton. For Bridgeton. They've somehow got to figure out a way to slow these two kids down. You know, obviously we say it a lot. The way to do that is to keep the ball yourself. Delsey has played great defense this year also. Delsey, the top seed. You know, might be a tough spot for Bridgeton, but Bridgeton, with their win last week, a win opening the season over St. Joe, really deserve all the credit in the world for persevering through the injuries and getting to this point.